The NBA offseason hasn't even officially started, and it's already out of control. Right in the center of the chaos, Kevin Durant, once again. One of the greatest scorers in NBA history, possibly on the move for the fourth time in his career. But this time, there's a twist nobody expected. The San Antonio Spurs are in the mix. Yeah, you heard that right. Durant Wembanyama, possibly forming one of the scariest duos we've ever seen. But before we get there, let's rewind for a second. Durant's time in Phoenix? Not what anyone expected. The Suns went all in. They traded the farm to bring KD to Phoenix. Then they added Bradley Beal. They stacked the roster around Devin Booker. The plan? Build a super team that could dominate the West. But what actually happened? Injuries, chemistry issues, no bench depth, and ultimately, a disappointing playoff exit. They went home early, and the pressure inside Phoenix started boiling. Behind the scenes, Suns ownership, led by Matt Ishbia, quietly started exploring Kevin Durant trade options. Not publicly, but the conversations were happening. By the end of the season, it became clear. The Phoenix super team experiment wasn't working. And now, the Kevin Durant sweepstakes are officially underway. The team's in the race. Once Phoenix started making calls, the bidding war quietly began, and multiple teams entered the conversation. First up, the Minnesota Timberwolves. They've been aggressive. They want to pair Durant with Anthony Edwards, and they've made strong offers. But here's the problem. Durant doesn't want to play there. Multiple reports say KD has no interest in Minnesota. Next, the Houston Rockets. Houston has plenty of assets, young players, Brooklyn's future picks, and tons of cap space. On paper, they can make one of the strongest offers. But inside Houston, the front office isn't fully sold. Durant's timeline doesn't match their young core, and they may prefer to chase someone like Giannis down the road. Then, the Miami Heat. The Heat are always lurking. Pat Riley's ready to chase any superstar who becomes available. And with Jimmy Butler aging, Miami wants to maximize their window. Durant likes the Heat like Durant. But so far, the talks haven't gotten serious. The New York Knicks? Surprisingly, they're not seriously involved. Even though Durant has said he'd consider New York, the Knicks aren't willing to part with their young core or picks for a 37-year-old KD. And finally, the San Antonio Spurs, the wild card. The team nobody expected. Quiet, calculated, loaded with draft picks and young talent. And, most importantly, they're one of Kevin Durant's preferred destinations. The Spurs hold the assets. They have the cap space. They have the culture. The only question is, will they actually go for it? Why Kevin Durant wants San Antonio. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Kevin Durant isn't just open to San Antonio. He actually wants it. Multiple insiders have reported it. KD sees San Antonio as one of his top choices. But why? Reason number one, Victor Wembanyama, the future of the NBA. 7'4", insane skill set, already a defensive monster, and still just 20 years old. Durant has admired Wemby for years. He's called him a cheat code. He knows how special this kid is. And Wemby, he grew up idolizing KD. Imagine those two sharing the floor. Two unicorns, two of the most unguardable players we've ever seen on the same team. Reason number two, San Antonio's stability. No drama, no front office chaos, no media circus, just basketball. Smart drafting, elite development, a system built for sustained success. For a veteran like Durant, after wild years in Brooklyn and Phoenix, that kind of stability is very attractive. Reason number three, timeline fit. Yes, Durant's getting older, but pairing him with Wemby during his rookie contract, it creates a 2 or 3 year window to chase titles, while Wemby is still cheap. By the time Wemby's max deal kicks in, Durant's contract likely expires. It lines up perfectly. So for Durant, the Spurs make a lot of sense. Now the ball is in San Antonio's court. Now this is where things get tricky, because while Durant wants San Antonio, the Spurs front office, they're hesitant. The Spurs have been patient for years. They've drafted well. They've developed young talent. And with Wembanyama, they finally have a generational cornerstone. Their long-term plan? Build a sustainable dynasty around Wemby, not rush. not panic, not blow all their assets for short-term glory. And here's the problem. Trading for Durant is risky. Yes, he's still elite. Yes, he makes them instant contenders, but he's also 37. He's had injuries, and nobody knows how many more high-level years he has left. The Spurs have assets that Phoenix wants. The number 2 overall pick in the 2025 draft. Multiple first-round picks. Young players like Devin Vassell, Jeremy Sochan, and Keldon Johnson. But so far, San Antonio has made it clear they don't want to give up that number 2 pick. So now they face a huge decision. Do they stay patient, keep building slowly around Wemby? Or do they go all in, trade major assets, and try to win right now with Durant? The most likely trade packages. If the Spurs and Suns actually get serious, what would a Durant trade look like? Let's break down the most realistic options insiders are discussing right now. Package 1, the simple deal. Spurs send Devin Vassell, Harrison Barnes for salary matching. 2025 first-round pick via Atlanta, 14 overall. Suns send Kevin Durant. This is the cleanest version. The Spurs keep their number 2 pick. They give up a rising young wing, a draft pick, and a veteran contract. Phoenix gets immediate contributors plus a lottery pick. Both teams win. Package 2, the aggressive deal. Spurs send Vassell, Jeremy Sochan, Keldon Johnson, the number 14 pick, and 1 or 2 future first-rounders. Suns send Kevin Durant. This is the all-in version. San Antonio gives up multiple core pieces, but fully commits to building a super team around Wemby, Fox, and Durant. Phoenix, in return, gets younger, deeper, and replenishes its draft capital. Package 3, the 3-team mega deal. Some insiders suggest bringing in a third team like Charlotte to help balance the trade. This version allows the Spurs to keep a high draft pick, Phoenix to get even more young assets, Charlotte to move up in the draft. Complicated? Yes, but very possible if everyone wants to get creative. At the end of the day, San Antonio holds the best cards. They have the pieces, they have the flexibility. They just have to decide how much they're willing to sacrifice. Why Phoenix would actually do this trade? Now let's flip it to Phoenix, because a lot of people are asking, why would the Suns even consider trading Kevin Durant? Here's why. Reason number 1, the experiment failed. The Suns went all in for a super team. Durant, Booker, Beal. They sacrificed all their depth. They emptied their draft picks. And after 2 seasons, injuries, disappointments, early playoff exits, it simply hasn't worked. Reason number 2, financial pressure. The NBA's new second apron rules, they're brutal. The Suns have one of the most expensive rosters in the league. They're deep into luxury tax territory. Keeping Durant on a $50 million salary while also paying Booker and Beal completely handcuffs the franchise. Trading Durant would give Phoenix salary relief, flexibility under the cap, and a chance to rebuild their depth. Reason number 3, replenish draft picks. The Suns emptied their future when they first traded for Durant. This trade allows them to get back into the first round, add young, controllable players, build long-term sustainability again. Reason number 4, still stay competitive. By getting players like Devin Vassell, Sochan, or Keldon Johnson, Phoenix doesn't have to rebuild from scratch. They still keep Devin Booker. They still have Bradley Beal. And now, they regain depth, youth, and balance. For Phoenix, this trade isn't about giving up. It's about resetting, rebalancing, and keeping a playoff-level team around Devin Booker. Expert opinions are split. Ask around the league, Nonasens of the Borg, and you'll hear very different takes on this potential trade. Because this deal, it's polarizing. One side says, if you have a chance to put Kevin Durant next to Victor Wembanyama, you do it. This could be one of the most dangerous duos ever. You have a future face of the league in Wemby, one of the greatest scorers of all time in KD, and De'Aaron Fox running the show at point guard. That's a team that can compete for championships right now. The other side says, Durant is 37. He's had injuries. You're giving up young, controllable players for maybe 2 good years. You risk blowing your long-term window for short-term hype. Even within San Antonio's own fan base, the debate is intense. Some fans are ready to roll the dice. Others want to protect the young core and let Wemby develop at his own pace. At the end of the day, both sides are right. This trade is high risk, but it's also high reward. And that's exactly why it's so fascinating. What happens next? Now comes the most important part. The clock is ticking. The NBA draft is just around the corner. And most insiders believe if a Kevin Durant trade happens, it happens before the draft. Right now, Phoenix is listening to offers. The Spurs are carefully weighing their options. Other teams like Houston, Miami, and Minnesota are still lurking. San Antonio has the strongest offer on paper. They hold the assets. They have the leverage. They control this market. The question is simple. Will the Spurs pull the trigger? Do they risk their young core to fast-track contention? Or stay patient and keep building slowly around Wembanyama? One thing is certain. If San Antonio makes this move, it changes everything. The entire Western Conference would be flipped overnight. Durant, Wembanyama, Fox. That's a super team nobody saw coming. The next few weeks, they're going to be wild.